I think we're live. I think we're good.
Sweet.
Cool. What is up, guys? Welcome to Diggity Podcast, episode number 128. I'm Jeff James. With me, as always, the incredible, unobtainable, luscious Brody Faults. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, buddy. How about yourself?
I'm doing decent.
Decent.
Decent. Yeah, it's been rough. I mean, last night, obviously, we stayed up way too late watching Game Awards. Which is something that we'll obviously bring up because we just talked way too long during Game Awards, and the Game Awards themselves are just way too long in itself. So,
Indeed, they are.
There is that. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm doing okay. How about are you all right? You good? You good?
I'm good, man.
Yeah. Are you tired?
No, because I actually had to stay up last night anyway, so I slept most of the day.
Oh, right.
I'm going in on nights today.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
Yarp.
All right. Well, cool, guys. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Diggity Podcast. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube, Diggity. If you're listening to the podcast for the first time, hit the subscribe button, and also tell your friends that we are available where all good podcasts are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Deezer, Radio Public. Did I miss one? Stitcher. Yes. There we go. And Anchor. Shit.
Yeah.
And Anchor. We're on Anchor now. So there we go. And yeah, please tell your friends, family, aunts, uncles, nephews, nieces, whatever. Doesn't matter. Just
everybody. Just tell them all.
Tell your dog, bro.
Tell your dog.
Yeah.
Your dog would like listening to us.
Cool.
Jeff has a soothing voice.
Yeah. Interesting kind of format for this show, just because there's so much stuff. We are going to kind of roll through the Game Awards winners. Not incredibly fast, but we're going to try to roll through it in a decent manner because there's a lot. And then we'll also discuss what we both said or thought would win and what actually ended up winning, which is some pretty big surprises there actually through the night.
Yeah,
so,
we did not guess very well at all.
No.
Just spoiler alert there.
No.
All right, so I'll start over, or I'll start with the Game I'll start over. Let's just do this again. No, I'll start off with the Game Awards winners. So first off, Game of the Year, the big one here. So Jeff said The Outer Worlds was going to win. I said Resident Evil 2 Remake was going to win.
Both were decent guesses.
Very decent guesses. I mean, out of 5, we still got them wrong because Sekiro Shadows Die Twice won. For best action game, Jeff said Modern Warfare. I said Modern Warfare. Devil May Cry 5 won. Surprising, but good. I mean, that's a good game. I'm content with that one. Action adventure game. Jeff said Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. I said Resident Evil 2. Also went to Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
Crazy.
Best art direction. Jeff said Link's Awakening. I said Link's Awakening. We were wrong. It's Control. Control won that one as well.
We were wrong.
Audio design. Jeff said Modern Warfare. I said Control. It was actually Modern Warfare on this one. So Jeff gets a point for that. Best community support. We both said Destiny 2. And it was, in fact, Destiny 2. Family game. We both said Luigi's Mansion. And it was, in fact, Luigi's Mansion.
Boom,
the best fighting game. We both said Smash Bros. Ultimate.
These are so easy.
And it was Smash Bros. Ultimate. Yeah, those were the easy ones.
Yeah.
Fresh indie game. Jeff said Untitled Goose Game. I said Outer Wilds. It was actually Disco Elysium. I greatly underestimated how much the community loves Disco Elysium.
I did as well, because I thought the Goose Game was going to win it, bro.
Yeah.
For sure.
Took the world by storm. But apparently not the Game Awards by storm. Best game direction. Jeff said Resident Evil 2. I said Control. It was actually Death Stranding. Games for Impact, which was presented by Reggie, our man Reggie. And he had a very nice speech there before this. But Jeff said Life is Strange 2. I said Life is Strange 2. It was actually Grease. Independent game. Jeff said Untitled Goose Game. I said Untitled Goose Game. And again, Disco Elysium. Mobile game. We both said Call of Duty Mobile, and it was, in fact, Call of Duty Mobile.
Easiest one, and we got it right.
That's right. We didn't mess that up. Multiplayer game, we both said Modern Warfare, and actually Apex won that.
Yeah,
which was kind of surprising to me.
Stunning.
I was a little shocked by that.
I mean, maybe
consider me shooketh.
Maybe there's a really, really, really grand community for that just like
there must be
loves the hell out of it. I don't know, bro.
I don't know. I was thinking we were getting to the point where, a lot of these battle royales were not going to be winning these awards anymore. Despite them being popular, I figured they're not necessarily the most beloved. I don't know. Apparently not. Narrative. Jeff said Control. I said Death Stranding. This one went to Disco Elysium.
Three-time winner, bro. Right now, we're counting. Yeah.
Up until this portion. So for this first half of the Game Awards, again, these are not in the order they were presented. There were some in the pre-show. It was just kind of they're all over the place. I don't know how exactly they figured out. We did not do very well. We missed the majority of them.
What's new?
But there were some surprising winners there. Some games that, I'm absolutely surprised that Sekiro won this. Just because it is kind of a game that is not approachable to a lot of people who play games. It's a very brutal game. It's like a Dark Souls-esque game. Mm-hmm. So I was very, very surprised to see this win Game of the Year. I'm not opposed to it. I think it looks fantastic. I didn't play it, as I've said before, because Dark Souls type games are not my kind of games. I get very frustrated very easily and something like that. But there was a lot of wins from some smaller games and studios and stuff. Like Disco Elysium, that's an indie game that, really won a lot of good stuff. So
I'll be selling a lot of copies now for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Like crazy.
Yeah, cool. So I'll let you take over the second half here.
Yes. All right. So second half of all this starts with the best ongoing game, which is an interesting category because obviously games have now changed to going on forever. I said Destiny 2. Brody said Final Fantasy 14. The winner, Fortnite, which was kind of surprising to us, but also not, whatever. It's cool.
This was the most awkward award of the entire event.
There wasn't a lot of
No one was clapping. It was so bad.
It was a little sketch. Then best performance was, I said Norman Reedus. Brody also agreed with me and said Norman Reedus for Death Stranding. Well, a Death Stranding individual still won, but it was Mads Mikkelsen. So that's cool. Best role-playing game. I said The Outer Worlds. Brody also said The Outer Worlds. Disco Elysium goes to again.
Another one.
Wild, dude. Score and music. I said Kingdom Hearts 3. Brody said Sayonara Wild Hearts. Both good guesses. I would say Sayonara Wild Hearts is honestly a lot more good.
I thought we were going to take
gooder.
It, but gooder.
Death Stranding one.
It's
moving on.
Yeah.
Sports racing game. I said FIFA 20. Brody said Crash Team Racing. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel was the winner, which is insane.
That nostalgia, man.
A huge factor, but holy crap.
I think I played it one evening, and that's it. I think I've maybe played it once or twice.
But it's a winner, baby.
It's a winner.
Your strategy game genre, I got confused on this. I said Wargroove, but I kind of wanted to change it last time. But Brody said Fire Emblem Three Houses. Fire Emblem Three Houses won. That's a big winner. For the VR AR game, I said Trover Saves the Universe. I just thought because of Rick and Morty, big following there. Brody said Beat Saber. Beat Saber took it. Obviously, Beat Saber's massive now. For Content Creator of the Year, I said Ewok would have won it, which if anyone's listening or watching right now, definitely go watch Ewok after the podcast because she's fantastic. And Brody said Shroud. And your winner was Shroud.
It's that mixer move, baby.
Yeah, for Best Esports Coach, I said Grabs. Brody said Grabs. And Zonic was the winner. So we have no idea about Esports Coach, nor do we to begin with, but this just affirms it. Esports Event, I said League of Legends World Championship. Brody did as well. And obviously, League World Championship won. The Esports Game of the Year, I said League of Legends. Brody also did, and we got League of Legends. Esports Host, I said Golden Boy. Brody said Golden Boy, and Scotch was your winner. So that was neat.
Wasn't it pronounced socks or something weird like that? I don't know. I didn't know how to even say it until last night when they said it.
I don't know. Esports Player. We both said Bugga and Bugga won or Booga won. Booga, Bugga, whatever. Esports Team. I said G2. Brody said G2. Well, guess what? G2 won. Most of our points accumulated at the very end on what were possibly really easy. I mean, all our points that we had were really easy.
The
There's like
easy,
there's like
easy one.
2 or 3 that were like blessed upon us somehow. We had 8 ties, which that's cool. And there were 29 categories in total for the Game Awards, which leads me to my thing. Too many categories.
A lot of categories. Yeah. The fact that we only got 12, or I got 12 right, you got 9 right, and 8 of them were simply because of ties is really bad.
Yeah, it's
not great.
not great.
But yeah, it was, and we'll get into this more at the end of the episode, but there's so many announcements and so many awards. And we talked about it last year. I mean, a lot of the esports stuff, most people don't really care about. I mean, I think it's good that they're promoting esports, and I think it's a great thing, but it just feels weird. Maybe have the pre-show be your esports area, which they do to an extent, and then kind of get a lot of your other things elsewhere. I mean, because one of them was best performance was in the pre-show, which I found kind of odd, especially when that's a chance to get, a huge actor up on stage, which I don't think he was there. And I think that might be part of the reason, is because, they aren't going to have it. Kojima come up and accept that instead, but, or they could have, but they didn't. And another one was, I think was not necessarily the sound design, but I think it was the music. Actually, the score and music was actually in the pre-show as well, which seems like an odd choice.
The pre-show just too many categories that there has to be a pre-show where they give out awards. It's like just ditch it. Ditch it.
The whole idea of having a pre-show that starts at 8:30 and then the actual show starts at 9 is bizarre to me anyway.
Then
it's all the same fucking show. It's just a show.
Right?
I don't know. I don't fully understand or get it, but
I get it. It's advertising.
Well, I mean, there was plenty of advertising throughout this thing.
Yes, there was.
An
which is fine,
excessive amount.
Obviously to build it up so that they can keep building up the audience.
Right. Jeff's not going to be happy until it's like a 7-hour event.
It's a day.
It's just a day. Devote a whole day to watching the Game Awards. By the end of last night, we were all losing our minds just completely.
Oh, you could watch a stream and watch humans degrade over time.
By the end of it, we're all just holding our heads.
It was like a study.
Jeff is getting up and wandering around.
Ethan's
saying stupid stuff. It was a mess. It was a mess.
It's pretty bad.
But anyway, we'll move on to some of the announcements. I think overall, the awards didn't go the way I thought they were going to go. I think there was some really good winners there, but clearly we were wrong on a lot of it.
Yeah, we'll chat about what we thought, I guess, of announcements after you want to talk about them, and then we'll do it after.
Yeah, we'll get to the announcements. Yeah. So first off, we had Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and by the way, these are not in any exact order because it's very hard to track all this down, and I'm not going to rewatch the entire thing. So I got all of the announcements, but they're not in the same order they were announced. So Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, X-Men Rise of the Phoenix DLC. This adds 4 new characters, Phoenix, Gambit, Iceman, and Cable. It looked like this was like step 2 of the expansion pass that they sold. Next up, we had No More Heroes 3, which was another look at a game that was announced during E3. It was kind of confusing. We had to look this up beforehand because we weren't sure. It looked like there was 2 games here. One of them that was announced looked like it was called Goddamn Superhero. But turns out that's actually just the villain for this game, I assume. And they afterwards showed off Travis Touchdown, the character of the No More Heroes series. And this trailer seemed to focus mainly on setting up the story. Did not give us a release date or even a release window at that. But looked kind of cool. I'm interested enough, I guess. I've never played any of the games. Xbox Series X. The next Xbox was announced last night at the Game Awards, which is
awesome.
Absolutely wild. I never in a million years would have guessed that. We don't know a ton about it other than it looks like a PC tower cut in half.
Clear Xbox.
What's that?
Looks like a Kleenex
It
box.
looks like a clean Xbox.
I do actually
Um,
have some info in terms of
okay.
measurements that I found today from Windows
Yeah,
Central.
I did see some measurements, but it will be arriving in holiday 2020. Go ahead and give me
Yeah.
those measurements, Jeff.
Yeah. So you have a USB A port interior, okay? Inside of in the bottom, just one port on the bottom right. Okay, that's been distinguished. It stands 12.28 inches tall. Okay, so 12 and a half. Or when we were at your house, we stacked three and a half controllers
Yeah,
tall,
we
something
figured it was
like
about
that.
3.5 controllers tall or two and a
And
half or
then
something.
yeah, and then it's 6.18 inches wide. Um, yeah, I mean, three and a half controllers tall, one and a half control or one controller wide.
And
And yeah,
the controller doesn't look like it changed any other than the D-pad's a little bit different. It kind of adds like a mixture of the Elite D-pad as well as like it's a combination of the Elite D-pad as well as the regular controller D-pad. And then it looks like there's a share button. Is what everybody's guessing, at least that it is, right in the middle, in between your select and menu buttons.
right.
Uh,
And they've some people on Windows Central, I mean, take this with a grain of salt, but they're saying that the processors obviously they're custom AMD Zen 2 based CPU,
yeah,
8 core at 3.6 gigahertz, and then you've got a custom made AMD Navi based GPU with 12 teraflops. It's going to have 16 gigs of RAM. 13 gigs of that is going to be guaranteed for game developers based on some dev kit stuff. The storage, which is the biggest thing, is an NVMe SSD, which has read speeds of anywhere up to 2 gigs a second. So if you
damn,
do the math on that, that would virtually eliminate load times. I
yeah,
mean, things would not have to load, essentially. Your
hell
video
yeah.
output is 8K and 4K at 120 hertz. It's going to have an optical drive, obviously, this version of it by the design, which will be accepting a 4K Blu-ray, which might have archive disc technology, which can get up to like 120 gig discs, which is kind of crazy.
Mhm.
For ports on the back, unknown. Have no idea what's on the back or the bottom of this thing. I'd love it if it had, I was thinking about this today, if the bottom actually opened up on the back, kind of like how the Switch has that, how the flap opens up just to hide the cables,
Mhm.
and then bunches
Yeah,
them
yeah.
together. That'd be really nice to have
That
something
would be
like that.
cool. Uh, I'm
Price is
glad
unknown. That's
I'm
it.
glad they didn't change the controller too much. It looks very, very similar. I love the Xbox One controller. I don't see how you improve from where it's at personally. So I'm
Yeah.
glad they're keeping it predominantly the same, which I mean, they have 360 wasn't too drastically different from the Xbox One.
Yeah.
So
Just
it's
quality of
nice.
buttons.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I hope they improve the quality of the controllers a little bit, but
The D-pad too. I don't really care.
I personally am actually excited about that. My because I use the curved disc looking D-pad for my Elite controller,
On the
and I
Elite.
love it. I don't know if it really makes much of a difference, but it's a lot easier to hit that awkward like those diagonal spaces and such. But I use it a lot unless I'm playing like a platformer or something.
Yeah.
But the first thing we actually showed, or the first thing we saw after this, was Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, which really showed off what the Xbox Series X can do, because this was all in-engine footage, and this was incredible looking. It
Oh
looked
yeah.
like a movie, which obviously this is the sequel to Hellblade, which is a narrative game that focuses on mental illness. This was an absolutely awesome trailer. It was so cool. I was really excited to see this. I didn't really get into the first game, but it made me want to go back and play the first game again and kind of get a feel for it. And then, definitely play this one when it comes out. Control, they announced the next part of DLC here, which is the Expeditions update. So this is a free update for Control that adds randomized in-game challenges and new customization options. Kind of one of those things that they're trying to extend the life of this game, which I'm all for. A new Bravely Default game, Bravely Default 2, was announced. This isn't quite a sequel to the first one, despite its name. This does look to be new characters and new places. So far, we have Bravely Default and Bravely second. Sorry, that was actually the sequel to the first game. So this is basically a new start, kind of a reboot of sorts. Godfall was also announced. This is a fantasy action RPG that has been announced as being a launch title for the PS5, which was really cool to see. It will also be coming to PC through the Epic Games Store. This game is being described as a looter slasher, which is being published by Gearbox and developed by Counterplay Games. I'm really excited about this game as well. It looks very cool. Final Fantasy VII Remake got another trailer. Not a whole lot of new news, just more of the game. By the end of this, or by the time this game actually comes out, we're going to know what the entire game and all of its cutscenes look like. Theros Beyond Death is an expansion to Magic the Gathering that breaks the barrier between the world and underworld. Had a really cool trailer to announce essentially a card expansion. Prologue, which is a player unknown game, which is bizarre, that looks like it may be diving into why the entire island is empty and abandoned. This game actually looked from the trailer, which I assume is not what the game will look like, judging on what PUBG looks like. This looked pretty good, actually. It'd be interesting to see some actual in-game footage and stuff as we get closer. Ruined King, a League of Legends story. So this is a turn-based RPG from the creators of Darksiders Genesis Airship Syndicate. So hopefully this goes better than Darksiders Genesis did, because it got pretty mediocre reviews. So this is the first single player League of Legends games to be shown off by Riot's new publishing label, Riot Forge. This looks really awesome as well. I'm all for the lore of League of Legends. Just pump it directly into my veins, which they tried to do. Humankind is a civilization style game that lets you create your own character to conquer and lead the world. The game will release sometime in 2020 on Steam, which obviously on PC. Maneater, which take revenge on people by playing as a shark and attacking people. They showed sharks jumping out of swimming pools, sharks flopping around on land trying to eat people, sharks evolving into or de-evolving because they looked like prehistoric creatures. It was just crazy stuff. Interesting concept for a game for sure. And last for my bit of announcements here, Warframe Empyrean. So the long-awaited expansion got announced and released at the same time for PC. One big thing that this expansion does add is co-op spaceship battles.
Snap. Cool. My turn, taking on. Cool.
Uh-huh.
We got some sweet Riot news, sweet Riot announcement for their newest thing, Forge, which is their little single story title, which is Convergence, which is a League of Legends story, the second single player LoL game announced during the Game Awards. This one was a drastically different art style than the first one, more cartoon-like and less doom and gloom. The game is being developed by Double Stallion Games and will star the legend Echo in it. We also get to see Ori and Will of the Wisps in this as well, and
Just
got a
trailer.
date. Yeah, just another trailer. Just another trailer, baby. Sons of the Forest, we also get to see, which is a sequel to the survival game The Forest. We get to see a game called Weird West, which had a really cool graphic design logo on it. Honestly, it looked awesome. The new studio Wolfeye, which is made up of former heads of Arcane, revealed their new game, Weird West, and it looks to be a top-down Western of some sort. Then Magic showed off Legends, which is their MMO. And we knew a Magic MMO was coming, but now we have the name, Magic Legends, obviously. And the game is being developed by Cryptic Studios, a company behind Neverwinter, Star Trek Online, and City of Heroes. As usual, this served as a teaser and did not give much info.
There was a lot of that
stuff is just kind of being thrown at you.
There's a lot of teasers and stuff, but there was cool teasers for sure.
Yeah. Then we had the Apex Legends Hollow Day Bash get shown off, which is a very weird, awkward announcement of the Apex Legends Holiday event, which involved Jeff Keighley and Mirage just
I hated it so much.
Talking to each other. They introduced a new game mode that is a 3v3v3 capture mode that makes players work to capture and hold the train. Of course, there are holiday cosmetics being added as well. And the skins for that were good.
They were actually very good skins. And one thing I did want to say, as much as I hated how awkward that was, it was kind of cool because they actually had the dude that plays Mirage, the voice actor, next door and suited up. And he was actually doing all that stuff live, all the capture animations and stuff. So that was kind of neat. But yeah, it was super weird and cringy.
Super weird. Then you have the Elder Scrolls Online announcement. The next expansion for Elder Scrolls Online has been revealed, and it looks like we are going to be going back to Skyrim in January. Who thunk it that they would have tried to milk
They didn't
Skyrim
know what
even
else.
more?
They didn't know what else to put Skyrim into, so they put Skyrim into another Elder Scrolls game. It's
Absolutely
ridiculous.
incredible. Then we saw a quick little peek of Path of the Warrior, which is a throwback street combat game, but in VR. Not a big fan of it. Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance got shown off. Coolest thing about this, I mean, the game looks cool. It is a cinematic, but the cinematic was done in a cool way where it looked like a selfie stick with like a GoPro taking video of D&D archetypes fighting, which is pretty neat. They do that for like sports videos a lot. There's like a Gatorade commercial right now that kind of does that. But not sure if this is what the game will actually look like, but it was certainly eye-catching and definitely has piqued my interest, and I want to see what is coming next for it. Then we saw a game called 9 to 5, which is going to be a 3v3 tactical shooter that will be entering in alpha in 2020. And this is the first project we've seen from Red Hill Games, which is a studio formed by old Remedy bosses. It's going to be interesting to see what it, fully is. The trailer was kind of confusing.
Yeah.
I thought it was, God, how can I forget this game right now? The big Ubisoft shooter.
Oh, Siege?
Yeah, Siege. Yeah. I thought it was like a Siege DLC.
That's what it did kind of look like at first.
Yeah. So whatever.
It started off with like a weird cartoon like animation, and then the guy shoots the TV and almost cusses, but of course doesn't cuss. But it was like it was weird. It was I didn't know what it was until I looked it up. I had to look it up. So I don't know if that's good marketing or bad marketing, but if I wasn't doing this podcast, I wouldn't have looked it up. So probably not great marketing.
Then we got Naraka Blade Point, which is a multiplayer melee action game. Not much is known from the trailer, but it appears that it may work similarly to a For Honor in a way, but with a drastically different control system. And also, it seemed to have a hint of a lot more like ability to hide.
Mm-hmm.
And like the whole like premise at the start is just trying to find your enemy. Where For Honor, yes, there's still that, but the maps are so small that it's not. Right. Then you had Ghost of Tsushima, which is yet another trailer for the long-awaited game. So trailers on trailers on trailers. Then we had another quick one show, which was New World. Oh my gosh. Adernum Awaits, which is a new MMO that is trying to get some of that MMO money coming in May 2020 from Amazon Games, which it looked really good. And Amazon Games,
see what they got. We'll see what they got.
See what goes down. Surgeon Simulator 2 was shown off, with a very weird trailer. And a trailer for the upcoming sequel of the Absurd Simulator game was shown there. The Wolf Among Us. It
looked like that game was like anything but actually being a surgeon.
I thought it was like
I've never played the first one, but
I thought it was like a puzzle game to like get out of like a massive like hospital clinic or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we saw a trailer for Surgeon for The Wolf Among Us 2. So Telltale is back despite all the issues in the past. Hardly anything is known about the game so far, other than that will be a direct sequel to the first game. And they had Telltale just plastered all over the logo. It's literally in the 2.
Yeah, this and Telltale at this point is, it's a shell of what it was, but there are still some of the original people from Telltale, so I expect that they can still write a good story to continue this series.
Mm-hmm. Then we got an interesting one that kind of piqued our interest a little bit, at least for me. Gears Tactics was shown, which is an XCOM style Gears experience that lets you fully customize your character. And that releases April 28th, 2020, and obviously also on Game Pass.
This is cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it looked awesome. It looked fantastic. Let's see what it can do from Halo Wars. Let's hope that that's not a big carryover to it, but we'll have to see. And then finally, oh God, Fast and Furious Crossroads was announced, and it was the game that no one was asking for. No one was expecting. and everyone hoped that it didn't exist. This is very odd. Basically, I'm stretching for this one because I felt like it was so awkward. This one was super odd. Out comes do we know the actor's name? That girl?
Oh, I'll look it up.
It's not important.
Yeah.
The girl from
Yeah.
Fast and Furious came out and talked about Fast and Furious Crossroads is a game that's coming to Steam, and it's being developed by Slightly Mad Studios and published by Bandai Namco. And then someone joined her and ultimately ruined the night, and that was Vin Diesel. Because Vin Diesel is awkward as all could be at a Game Awards show, and they're just, I mean, it was like all the nerds were at the picnic table or the cafeteria table, and then the high school jock decided to come over and sit down and talk video games for a bit, and all he talks about is Mario. And you kind of just go, cool, dude. Like, thanks.
But to be fair, the guy actually has been known to play World of Warcraft and Dungeons and Dragons. Like, he is a nerd, but he did feel very out of place. It was right. Very bizarre. And on top of that,
it was very paid for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I think the worst thing about it was this game looks terrible. It looks like a PlayStation 3 game. It looks very, very bad.
And you couldn't really tell what it was. Is it a giant open RPG? Is it just a racing game? Bare bones?
It looked like a racing game. I mean,
not like a Forza though, like Horizons, right?
No. This was certainly like a Fast and Furious. I mean, there was like wrecking balls coming through, and like it's a thing that could probably make for a pretty fun game in like a stuntman style version game, you know, not whatever this is. I mean, if somebody wanted to have fun with that kind of idea, they really could, and I think it would make for a fun game. But this is not great.
You know, and
I don't. What?
It's still going to make a buttload of money because those movies are terrible and they make so much money for Universal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing a lot of rumor on the internet. Again, it's all hearsay and theories and yada yada. But supposedly, Half-Life Alex was supposed to be at the show, and Jeff Keighley did tweet about that. But it sounded like Steam may have bounced out of it at some point. I bet Half-Life was supposed to be the closing to the show, and it wasn't supposed to be Fast and Furious. And I think it was a scramble to put something together. And so they saw the big names of Vin Diesel and the Fast and Furious franchise. And I can't think of the lady's last name, or first name, but I think it's something Rodriguez.
Great.
No,
let me narrow it down.
Right. I can't find it. It literally is not coming up, unfortunately. Which is great. But I think they were just trying to get some big names on the stage to announce the final award. And
Michelle Rodriguez.
There it is. So yeah, it was something. A whole lot of something. I wish that Half-Life would have been there because I think that would have been a much better closing. And we really talked about this at the end of our stream yesterday. But this could use some pacing help. It was a mess. There was a lot of times that they would show off some of these ads and stuff, and it felt like you were watching a commercial. I mean, it was just straight up like a Nintendo sizzle reel like commercial that they do, and they showed the same one like 3 different times. I think the Xbox announcement should have been at the end or somewhere in the middle to keep hype going rather than at the beginning, because everything seemed kind of lackluster after that. I mean, everybody's still kind of thinking about, Xbox and some of the games. I mean, I'm very interested in some of the games, but I feel like it needed to be spaced out a little differently and change up the order of how things were announced and make sure that there's constant excitement throughout it, because by the end of it, I mean, we just didn't give a shit anymore. Our caring was pretty much out the window. I mean, and then of course to close it out with Fast and Furious, a very, very bad PlayStation 3 looking game. Not a fan. Wasn't a fan of that. So, but overall, I would say There were some very good things in there. I think Senua's, sorry, however you say it, Saga. I think that looked really, really great. And like I said, it's driving me to go back and play the first game. I think Godfall looks awesome. Really excited for that one. Going down through the list here. I was excited for the League of Legends stories. I think those are going to be really cool. Particularly the first one that they announced, Ruined King. I think that one kind of has that doom and gloom look to it, and I think it'll be pulled off very well. The Magic Legends MMO, I'm all for MMOs. I love MMOs, so that one has my name written all over it. Looks like New World looked really, really good. I'm excited to see what Amazon can do with that, and if it will actually turn out as well as the trailers and stuff look. Obviously, it'll be different because those were cinematic, but the style and everything, if that's there, I think it will be well received. And Gears Tactics was also one I was extremely excited about. I think that looks really, really cool. It's cool you get to design your own cog for once, not something you've gotten to do in a Gears game up until now. And then clearly, I mean, I'm extremely excited about the Xbox Series X, even though it really didn't tell us a whole lot, but Hellblade kind of gave us an example of what things can look like on that console. And it looks like this next generation is going to be pretty damn wild. There's going to be some just amazing graphics that blow people away.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that it looks like a little weird cut in half PC. That's fine.
One thing before we wrap up that we didn't mention, Fortnite event on Saturday.
Oh, right. You can watch a trailer to get a like a TIE fighter.
TIE Whisper glider.
Oh, TIE Whisper glider.
Everyone gets one for free.
Jeff Keighley. You have to watch the video for it, but there is a new Star Wars event going on this weekend that they were very hush-hush about. They didn't say a whole lot about it. And there's new characters available.
Yeah, and Jeff Keighley is interviewing J.J. Abrams before the trailer goes live. Yeah. On through Fortnite, which would be pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last part of it for me before wrap up, I guess, is the Reggie's speech was fantastic. It was definitely wonderful. Yeah. He's definitely on the nose towards people claiming that video games are violent and using them as a fucking shield against other bullshit, or just putting the fucking work in to fix something. And that was good. Nice to see him do that and come out of retirement and talk about that. All right, cool. We didn't miss anything else, did we? There's a lot.
No, I pretty sure I got everything else there, but I think overall this was a pretty decent Game Awards. There was, like I said, there's pacing issues and there's some other weird things going on here, but I think last year's was better personally. Even though they didn't announce a console last year, but I think overall the pacing just kind of ruined it for me this year. It was odd. Something felt off. I don't know exactly. I can't place my finger exactly on what it was, but something wasn't quite right.
There was too much shit, and even though it lasted 2.5 hours, here's my theory, or almost 3 hours. Here's my theory. So much shit that it just felt like a talent show where the kid gets off the stage and then they literally have to push the other fucking person out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you have an award show and you list off like 4 awards in 2 minutes and they're winners and you're just standing there with a mic saying it right before you go to commercial.
Yeah.
How valuable is the fucking award?
Right. It feels too crammed.
It feels like I could get a game award like tomorrow.
And to an extent, I get it because they do want to leave room for the advertisements and the trailers because that's how they get the money to put on these shows as well. But they really, really hurry through some of the awards, and either you got to start eliminating some awards or slowing down and getting rid of some of the ads and trailers and stuff. So.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, today's podcast was brought to you by Audible. You can get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/diggity. Get access to a ton of titles to choose from for your iPhone, your Android, your Kindle, or your MP3 player. And head over to patreon.com/diggity podcast if you want to become a patron over there. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Diggity Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Search for Diggity Gaming or just Diggity. You can find us. You can find me on Xbox One. My gamer tag is Maple Jeff. I'll have to say Xbox Series X in about a year.
Mine is Luscious Brody on Xbox and Wolverine's cousin at PlayStation.
Guys, leave us a review, whether it's a comment on one of our YouTube videos or an actual review on our iTunes page, Spotify page, or Google Podcast page. It helps us a ton. All of these platforms, the way that they push content, the struggle and the grind of content as a new YouTuber, a new podcaster is basically based on reviews and engagement and input on stuff. So thank you to those who have done that in the past. And if you haven't, if you could take some time, write a quick review, that'd be awesome, because we also like to learn about our content and how we can make it better. Until next time, guys, we will see you for the Wednesday show. I'm just going to do housekeeping comment here, just so people know. So, and I'll just repeat it for the next 2 episodes too. But the week of Christmas, pre-recorded episodes, but there will not be quote unquote up to date, up to the minute news shows like we do on normal occasions. So just as a heads up, if you're like, why are these guys doing topics during Christmas? We're not there.
We're seeing our family.
Yeah, we're seeing our families, dude. And until next time, guys, we'll see ya. See ya.